G'day everyone. How you going? Yeah, no, not much. So today I've got a very, very special guest, a good friend of mine for many, many years, all the way from the red zone of Melbourne in the full-on lockdown. But here we are. We got my mate Josh Stuart. How you going, mate? Welcome to the show. What's going on?
Yeah, no, not much, Liam. Thanks for having me. I'm definitely, I'm in proper lockdown.
I know you as being one of them guys that is a bit of a hermit crab as it is. And when I rang you the other day, I'm like, I had to remind you, like, hey, mate, how you going? Like, how's lockdown? And I think you responded by like, what do you mean?
Yeah, it's weird. From the days when I was in the band to now, like, I've changed a lot in terms of social activities. So I'm pretty much an introvert these days. And yeah, when you called me, I'm like, oh, this is normal. I'm at home in my room, just as I would have been last year, home in my room. But everyone else has to be as well. Not in my room, but at home.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I don't know. I reckon a lot of people in bands are actually introverts as it is. And I think, did you notice that from playing over the years?
I definitely noticed it. For some people, it does change. You just get overwhelmed by the amount of social interaction that you do have because you're out every night.
Yeah.
And every night that you're out, everybody else, it's their night out. So they're out having a party, having a good time, and you're involved in that every night. So it takes its toll. And I think that's why a lot of people in bands get on the booze quite a bit, try and keep them up and happy.
Well, it's kind of like when you're in a band environment, when you're on stage and performing, you got to be that extrovert. So it's kind of like you're at work. So maybe that's why eventually it turns you a little bit off it. And you just like, I feel like if I have to be an extrovert, it's like I'm working, like I'm putting on something.
Yeah, you're right. It's not like it's not you, but I guess the alcohol does help, and the Red Bulls do help get up and put on that show and feel excited.
Yeah. So, I think one of the things that you're the best at being in lockdown is that you've got all the kit when it comes to technology. Now, you're my go-to guy when it comes to, like, as you know, if I've ever had a problem with my computer, it's like, hey Josh, how are you going? Hey, have you got a minute? Because for those that are listening, I get Josh usually on TeamViewer. He just logs on and just fixes my problem for me. And then I repay him with a few jokes. He laughs, he's happy, and that's all good.
And I do get to check what's in those secret folders of yours, you know.
Absolutely nothing. It's all good.
Yeah. Do not look here. Yes. Mum, don't look here.
Yeah. But yeah, I remember stitching you up though, because when I was going to get you on TeamViewer, and I think I might have set my background as something that was just inappropriate.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to stitch you up here. Hopefully someone like Liz is next to you when you see this. Just a big, something going on in the background. But the thing is that I've recently, as you know, I've switched to Mac, and you are a PC guy. So I don't want to say you're useless to me now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just, I'm an Apple guy. Like, I've always been iPhone, and you've always been like, screw Apple.
Yeah, Android, PC. It's the alternative. Mac and Apple used to be the alternative. You know, if back in the day, if you had a Mac, you were like the artsy, cool kid. But now you're just part of the machine, man. You're so loud.
Did you ever? We're all microchipped anyway now.
Yeah.
So, did you ever have an iPhone?
Yeah, I had one. I had the iPhone 3 when it first came out.
Okay.
And it was actually Cam, our former BCE drummer, and I went to it was a Roadrunner listening party, and it was for one of their bands. I'm terrible at band names, but they were a pretty big, successful band. They kind of sounded like Metallica. You probably, I don't know. Yeah. But coming back from that,
Metallica, that's that brand that all those young chicks wear nowadays.
Oh yeah, that's right. Coming back from that, we had a few sakes, and coming back in a cab, and it slipped out of my pocket onto the back of the cab. Now, back in those days, like this was, first when you had a smartphone, and I get back home, I realize I don't have my phone. I have no one to call. I can't call the cab because I have no fucking phone. And our house doesn't have a phone. So by the time I managed to get someone else in the house up and call the cabs, they're like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. So I never got my iPhone back, and I never went back to iPhone. So, yeah. Sad story. What could have been?
Well, I was sucked in. Like, they got me hooked. I think I remember the first iPhone that came out. There was like, that's when everyone was like obsessed with downloading apps that were games. And like, I remember playing like piano on my phone. Yeah. I was like, this is so cool. Like, this will be
novelty,
the future.
For sure, a novelty.
So, but like, I remember it was because it was like I always had iPods. So I guess it was the new
actually,
iPod.
I never had an iPod. Even back then, I was the alternative kid that had some shitty, like, $10 thing that you could fit, like, 5 MP3s on.
Wow.
But
I'll tell you what, you are the real punk rock, aren't you?
Yeah.
You just had to be opposite.
It was that. Anything... Yeah.
Next question. No, but in saying that, okay, so back on the technology thing, you have all the kit when it comes to virtual reality. Now, when I came over, when I stayed down there once, I had to go. So Josh has this Formula One driving simulator where,
for those on video, you can see it in the background.
Can they see it in the background?
Yeah.
Oh,
but
there you go.
Those guys.
So that thing is just insane.
Yeah, that got serious. So
yeah, definitely. So I want to know how, like, in lockdown now, you can't go out anywhere, but technically you can.
Yeah.
So
you
go for it. Like, did you go for a run? A drive this morning?
I haven't been for a drive this morning. No, I went for a drive last night. So yeah, in Victoria, where I live in Melbourne, we can't go anywhere if you don't know. Greater than a 5 kilometre radius, and that's exacerbated because a few months back I had a seizure, first seizure out of the blue. Don't exactly know
that was
why.
hectic.
Yeah, but because of that, I can't drive it for real either. I'm not, just in case I have a seizure in traffic and cause some incidents. Yeah. But I can drive at home. So I've got my little, like you said, Formula One simulation rig. It has a legitimate steering wheel, and I also have VR, as you mentioned. And so putting all that shit on, it makes you feel like you're actually out there driving. So these days, without having to go outside and drive, I can drive at home. And it's become a bit of an obsession, racing online in my little sim rig.
Do you think one day that driving simulators will be a thing where there's actual robot cars out on the road driving from simulators like yours?
So people at home driving cars remotely is sort of what you mean.
Yeah.
Right? Probably not. I reckon they'll just crack the autonomous vehicle stuff before they worry about that. So cars driving themselves. But when you think about remotely stuff, they already have drones, and that's people remotely flying a plane or a little drone.
In the mines, those big trucks, a lot of them are just remote controlled, which is weird.
Exactly. And a lot of it still is autonomous too, driven by GPS. So a lot of the parts that they need, precision work, it's all done by itself. But I think tangentially to what you're asking there, will sim racing be a legit sport? And it's one thing.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, it's one thing that's interesting through this whole lockdown period. We saw an enormous increase in the activity around sim racing because every other form of motorsport had to stop instantly.
Yeah.
What happened was all those real world drivers that no longer had with the ability to race in real life, they switched over to sim racing. So we had series like the V8s, the supercars, they continued on with their real drivers, but just in simulators. They had the real, it was broadcast on Fox as well. So they had actual commentators and commercials and all this other shit that goes into it. And it was awesome. If you weren't real savvy on racing, you would think that was a real race going on. Yeah. So
Well, I tell you what, you can bet on it. I've got sports bet because I always do a cheeky multi on the footy every week. But I did come up with esports. I'm just like, hey, what's this?
Yeah.
And then I'm like flicking through. I'm like, am I going to find Jay Stuart in here somewhere?
yeah, no, not quite. Unfortunately, I'm okay, but I'm not that good. I have raced.
But you do have a race team.
I do have a race team. Yes, and they are cheekily sponsored by Shredling.
Ah, what a plug.
What a plug. And so got a couple guys together, and we race pretty seriously. You know, we spend probably about 12 hours a week on practicing and racing. So it's a legit time investment. And we have just recently started broadcasting it online, so live streaming it. And that has commentators and stuff as well. Nerdy, but cool.
No, but it's cool. Like, it's given you guys the chance to be able to just compete on like a world spectrum now, really.
Exactly, and I was just about to say that not this year, but last year, Lando Norris. Lando Norris, for everybody, is a F1 driver. He's only 20 years old, or thereabouts, and he does a lot of streaming online of the same simulation game that I drive in. And I've actually got to race against him one time last year, which was sick. So it's pretty much the only video game that has that ability. You're not going to jump on and, throw some footy. I don't know. What is rugby? You throw the footy? Yeah. Kick a footy?
Yeah.
Something. with the guys out of Melbourne Storm or whatever. Like, it's not the same thing if you're playing on a video game. But with sim racing, it's like the same thing almost, except for the G-force and the speed and the risk of accidents.
Exactly. And then,
cool.
for example, people like yourself who can't actually physically drive at the moment, even if you were allowed, you're still able to do this, which is awesome.
Exactly. I'm jazzed, as you can hear. I'm pretty psyched on it. But
all right. Well, next thing I think that we were going to get into. First of all, I think let's drop some big news that I'm doing a collab with you guys.
Yes.
So the racing team, the DFR racing team, is going to have their own Shred Life collab T-shirt coming out.
Very excited.
I can't wait. Yeah, you surprised me very well with when you showed me the graphics, like the cars on the game, how they're just kitted out with Shred Life stickers. I'm just like, this actually looks so legit. Like, I could imagine Shred Life being on actual Formula One cars now.
Yeah. Oh, man. Probably have to sell a few more T-shirts to get on there, but I reckon you can.
That's all good.
Just a couple more.
No, there's no point. I mean, we've already got a leg up, don't we? We're mates with one of the big dogs, Daniel Ricciardo.
Oh, yes. Because that's right. So along those lines, for those out there, we met Daniel Ricciardo, who's an F1 driver, the Aussie F1 driver. And there's only 20 F1 drivers.
Knows how to sink a beer.
He knows how to sink a beer.
No.
He wasn't drinking that night, but yeah, apparently he knows how to sink a beer.
Bullshit. I saw him having a beers in his hand.
So yeah, we're going to probably put the word out, see if Daniel would like to wear a Shred Life shirt and maybe sponsor his McLaren next year. Aim
high, but sometimes you might hit low. I don't know. Yeah. I wish I had a better word for that. So I don't think you and I have actually spoke about how we actually met. So in my podcast, on my first episode, I did mention that we met on tour a few years ago in Adelaide. No, we actually played in my old band in Noosa.
Yep.
Back when I was, I can't remember how old I was. I must have been about 18 or something. But I remember I went through some old emails and I found these old emails of us trying to get the gig with you guys.
Oh, really?
Like, we weren't mates then, but this was me, like, massive, like, sweater back then. Because I remember when you guys played at Soundwave, I was just the kid in the front row, just frothing
You were there?
Frothing up. I was there.
At River Stage?
When you played at River Stage.
Oh.
And, my wife's got this thing with manifesting and how real it is.
Oh, yeah, right.
And she's big on the manifesting. And I'll tell you what, I can't, it's legit. So a few of the things that we've had on our, goal line, we manifest, and then just somehow a few years later it happens. Maybe back then I manifested, I will be in this band one day. And that was probably just the little kid that I was.
Yeah.
Anyway, through the years, just some sad emails of bullshitting you guys in order to just get in the circle, which were just like, hey guys, we saw you guys are playing in Noosa. We'd love to join, be the support. We'll put heaps of promotion out for you guys. I don't know. It was pretty embarrassing when I read back through it, but whatever. And then we got the gig, and then we meet you guys. We're backstage. We're having beers, and that was it. That was the beginning.
I know we had a good night that night because we were touring with 28 Days as well. That was the tour we were on, and I think it was the last show that we had for. I know we had done a few shows, and it was the last one, and we're staying all together. Like all the bands were staying together, so it was sort of a good night to have a few beers, and I think everyone hung around afterwards, and we had a few beers and got to know you guys.
So maybe we got that lucky chance where usually a band on tour, they'll play the show, and then they'll just want to piss off straight after.
Yeah.
We must have got you guys on a good night where you were able to hang around and somewhat chill.
Because the venue we played at was the place we're staying at as well, from memory, right?
Yeah.
So I mean that's perfect because you don't have to worry about packing up shit and going back to someone's house or a hotel or something, or fucking driving overnight.
Usually that tour, and for some reason for a lot of bands, it involves going up north after that, which is like going to Mackay or Airlie Beach. Yeah. Is that where you guys went after?
I think we were coming back from that way. I think we're going the other way.
Oh, okay, yeah. See, that's it. Anything north of Noosa is just a shit drive.
Yeah, and like you said, like typically you would play probably and pack up, and depending on how far the next show is and when it is, you might drive overnight to get to the next place. We did that so many times, like fucking get to Brisbane, play a show, have to drive overnight to Sydney. You've probably done it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, play a show, drive overnight to Melbourne. That is some tough work.
So yeah, pretty much from that moment onwards, we started our new band, which is Take Us to Vegas. And then I remember we played only one show with you guys, which was in Adelaide. But what I remember is that, we got to hang out again after that. I think the reason why we became mates after that is because from that, every time we went to Melbourne, we stayed at Aaron's house. And then that made more sense. And I'm like, because I was trying to think, like, we didn't play that many shows together. So why did we become close? And I remembered, it's because we just stayed at Az's house and then just hung out with you guys the whole time.
Yeah, Az's place there was the den. It was that was the place in Paran. And so it was just off Chapel Street. So it was the party place.
It was.
And I think he had a lot of bands come through and stay there. Not a band like a lot of bands, but some bands. You were still probably his favorite.
It must have been because he was the DJ at Bang, so he knew the bands.
That's it.
So that made more sense. Yeah,
and
so
he was
I
out
guess
partying a lot.
No, he was
because of the DJ Bang, and you guys would have been partying a lot at Bang and.
Yeah, exactly. It was great. Yeah. But from there, I remember a few years went by, and then you guys went on hiatus. We were spewing because we always tried to still tee up gigs with you guys, but which like, are you guys going to play a gig? And you do what we do of Take Us to Vegas. You're just like, oh yeah, we want to, but just not yet.
It was been mostly me. Like Az would always be up for playing shows, and same with Dan Kirby. Kirby loves playing shows.
I agree with that 100% because even when I joined, is that when a gig, because after that first tour we did, so many gigs came through. I'm just like, yes, and then it's like, oh, Josh,
nah. Like I said at the start of this, like getting me out now, the thought of having to do big tours. It scares me a little.
It's got the cop. Well, I'll tell you what, this is this thing. Okay. So for those that are listening, there's this group chat that Behind Crimson Eyes have, and I got introduced to. It's an app called Slack. Now, for everyone who doesn't work in an office environment, has no idea what Slack is, I don't think. I don't know.
Nah, that's full. Of course everyone knows.
No, well, I don't know. Until you guys came on, I never heard of Slack. And I tell you what, it's got the best name for an app that I don't use because it's like every time you write on there, it's like, have you checked Slack? I'm like, nah.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm in Slack. That's why it's called that, because no one freaking goes on it.
Only you who don't. Actually, it's only you and Kirby who don't go on it. Me and Az have a chat, and Garth even have a chat on there all the time. Yeah, fuck it. You're missing out. We organised a tour, but you didn't check it, and so we had to cancel everything.
Oh, so good, so good. But yeah, so that was how, when I first joined, and I got the call from Dan if I wanted to, like, ask if I could play the show, and I was frothing up. So anyway, I did what every insecure person would have done in that group chat. And I don't know if I told you this, but I was on Slack, and I realized when you added me to this group, I scrolled up, and I was like, oh shit, I've just unlocked all the messages that were prior to me being in the band. And I'm just like, I'm going to find out who didn't want me in the band. So anyway, fortunately, this is how good it is that I scroll up and was like, oh, why am I doing this? But I don't know, it's just like, you're not meant to look, but I'm going to do it. Anyway, so I scroll up, and everyone in the band like agreed that I was like going to be suitable to be asked to play. I was like, oh, thank God.
There we go. You're like man, jaded ex-boyfriend looking over the ex-girlfriend's phone or some shit.
You know,
looking over at Facebook, yeah.
But I'll tell you what, like, I think that just made me so happy and comfortable just joining, that I didn't have to win anyone over. Like, because actually at the time, I didn't really know Garth that well. But then I was just like, surely Garth will be like, oh, who's Liam? But clearly the complete opposite. He's out by far, to be honest, out of the whole band, the nicest one.
Yeah, he absolutely is. He's the best dude times 2 out of all of us, for sure.
Like, I don't think I've heard a swear word come out of his mouth or just a negative thing.
He loves to swear. Absolutely. He didn't at one stage. No, and it was actually before you joined the band. While writing Revelation for Despair, he hadn't swore, like, in probably 10 years kind of thing. Like, it was part of his thing. And he was quite religious. And then, I guess, slowly we chipped away at him, and now he didn't drink either at all. But now he loves whiskey, loves cigars, loves a fucking swear, and and doesn't like God. So job done.
That's your band that did that. So that was great. Like, coming down with you guys, being able to join. I remember, like, the power of technology, you guys living in Melbourne and me up in Queensland in the best state. We had to, you had to teach me the songs over video, which is fine. Like, I got added to this group chat. Aaron records the songs, sends them to me. I learn them. And by the time I come down to Melbourne and we have our first practice, like, I already knew what I had to do. It was perfect.
Yeah, it was so sick, wasn't it? That's one of the things that has been great. Picking the band back up and doing these things is the technology now is fucking awesome. And we were able to record ideas at home, every one of us, and send them around. We were able to prepare for practice, so that I think which one was it for that we first did? It was the tour with Alexis, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mate, don't worry, I don't forget.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I think maybe I think we had 2 days of practice, didn't we, before that tour, or something stupid small. But the reason we were able to do that was because we were able to share everything beforehand and practice at home. So when we got into practice, it was just sharpening shit up, and it was cool.
Oh, sweet. But I remember I was just like, I couldn't believe it when I was actually in that room, like, playing along with Dan, like, who is just like a well-known drummer now, like, throughout Australia, basically overseas. And I'm just like, how am I even here? I'm just this dude. And I'm meant to be playing along to Dan playing drums. Like, you're kidding me. Anyway, so I was frothing up anyway. But I remember on the first show that we did over in Perth, we were setting up on stage, doing our sound check, and Garth looks at me, and I've just got this smile on my face, and he just goes, "You're stoked, hey?" I'm just like, "You don't understand. Like, I'm so stoked right now." But it wasn't that because I was used to being like, I don't want anything to take away from it because it was still great times, but it was nice to go from not having to drive for a whole day to get to a show. Like, I was very fortunate, and I knew I was in a fortunate position where I was in a position where we could fly somewhere, stay in accommodation. We even had I had a guitar tech. I'm just like, what the hell is this? Yeah. And then just like getting fresh strings every show. And I'm just like, I'm so thankful for this position that I'm in. And I don't know how I got here, but apparently it's just because I reckon it's because I bullshitted my way back in Noosa all them years ago.
Yeah. You did dream about it quite a bit. Or, no, what was it? Tried to manifest it.
Exactly. Manifesting is a real thing. I don't manifest huge things. I manifest realistic things that could happen. Like, it's good to dream big, but I think like the thing with social media nowadays is that people are very full of shit with the life that they live, I think. Oh. Exactly. So they post only the highlights, the best moments, like we all do. Is if you're not going to post something like a shit day on Instagram because you don't want to be reminded of it. But I think I look forward to realistic things that are possible of happening and that are within reach, within 5 to 10 years. Yeah. So
I got a couple of things there I want to talk about. Firstly, I think for us, for a long time, we like the band Behind Grips and Eyes, you take it for granted. Like when you're playing those kind of shows every day, or you're playing, and not that we played a lot of big supports, but not every day. And that was a good introduction, let's say, for you in terms of what the life could be. We had catering. There's like every night there was a big buffet of food and shit you could go and have, and there was whatever alcohol you wanted, and there was all this kind of cool stuff. But over the course of time, you just start to take it for granted. So for us, having someone, fresh-eyed coming in was awesome for us as well. Someone who appreciated it and wasn't jaded by the monotony that can happen when you're on the road or the bullshit. So for us, that's awesome.
That's good. Sick. I'm glad I could do that bit then.
Yeah.
But thanks, I still know no matter how big you can get, the technical difficulties are still within arm's reach. And there's a story that we're bringing up that I'm like, okay, I tell you what, like we've spoken for half an hour now.
Yeah.
There's
all right.
a topic that, I've got you revved up about this. So, all right. There's a festival that we played everyone. It's called Unify. Now, Unify is I guess a well-known festival now. Like everyone bands from overseas want to come here and play it. Like it's huge. So when we got asked to play Unify, we thought this is a great opportunity to expand more than just the live set for being just a band playing on stage. So how do I begin? Like we were told there's going to be a video projector behind us, like a big screen where we could have things playing behind us as we're like doing the thing. And, big production. This is going to be unreal. Like we almost got pyrotechnics involved at one stage. We thought about it. But we're going to go all out with this. But we went with the whole video idea. Now, the thing with video is that you have to have it synced up to a track that you are playing along with. Otherwise, it's virtually kind of impossible to have it playing exactly in time with you. Now, we have this thing called an iLock, which is basically the key to a car, you might say. So it's kind of hard to drive a car without the key. Okay, cool. So we have this program called Pro Tools, which have a backing track playing while we're playing. Like we are playing our instruments on stage, everyone. We are still playing as a band, but there is a track. You're not. No, Josh isn't singing at all. But it has like your gang vocals or harmonies or like some guitar parts that might need a harmony guitar. I don't know, like just things. More so piano stuff, really. Yeah. And like sub drops, those sort of things. But the thing is that in between songs, we had videos playing the intros into what would be our next song, the new songs that we did. And we had this whole video thing set up. Now, the night before, Josh, tell us what we did the night before.
We played what's usually called a warm-up show. Because we hadn't been on tour and we're warmed up, we had to go and play a show the night before just to flesh things out to make sure that once we hit the big stage, we're going to be on fire. So we wanted to run all the equipment as well, just to make sure everything was all, going to work the next night.
Yeah. So Josh is the responsible one in the band, so he thinks. And we, after the show, we give Josh the key to the car, the iLock. Now, he puts it in his pocket. It's like, it's going to stay with me. It'll be safe. And that way we've got it for tomorrow. Now, the day of Unify. So we drive down the night before, I think, and we stay there. We wake up. We're fresh as a daisy. We're all excited. We're going to play this huge festival. So who headlined it? It was Parkway and Architects that headlined that night that we played.
Yep.
Now, this makes sense in the soon coming sentences. Now, we're getting warmed up. I know. We're getting warmed up. We're backstage. Huge crowd. I think 50 lines were playing as we were getting set up, warmed up. And I'm shitting myself, as I do before most performances. I get nervous. I get the pre-show jitters. And anyway, but I'm like, it's all good because we've got this iLock and it's going to be an absolute amazing show. Now, I'm warmed up. I'm getting my thing ready. Fortunately, we've got our guitar tech. He's set up all our gear on stage. And then out of nowhere, like I'm in the zone, ready to go on stage. Josh comes up to me. No, you don't even come up to me casually. You yell at me with panic. And it's just, I'm like, what? And she goes, I forgot the iLock. And I'm just like, what? And I'm thinking in my head straight away, like, holy shit, like, what do we do? Like, are we close enough where we can quickly drive back? Anyhow, no, we're not, because we go on stage in 10 minutes. So we're running around thinking, holy shit, 10 minutes of going on stage. It's like that dream when you go to school with no pants on. Anyway, like, we're about to go on stage and panicking. So we run around. I ask questions straight away. Like, who else would have an iLock here? Like, who has an iLock for something? Like, do other bands use them? Fortunately, yeah, there are other bands that still use them. So we come up with game plans quickly. But at the same time, we also think plan B. Fuck, what's the set going to be now? So I'm thinking, like, Dan's just going to have to count in before every song. We just start playing. I don't know. Like, what do we do? We're just going to have to, like, can we make the guitars sound bigger and better? Who knows? Anyway, we start doing the run around. Now, first of all, where do you go first to try and find help?
Oh, man, it's all such a blur. I just ran around quite a bit.
Ran around with you like a headless chicken.
Yeah, that was basically it. In an absolute panic. Like you said, it's the nightmare, not of going to school with no pants on, but just all your nightmares of getting up in front of a bunch of people. And I have this recurring nightmare that I can't sing on key, or I forgot the words, or, that panic of something going wrong in front of a large group of people. And this was reality. Like, this was about to happen.
I couldn't believe it. I'm just like, of course this happens to us. Like, it has to happen.
On the big stage, yeah.
Yeah.
But I ran back into our backstage area and dumped out my bag, dumped everything on the ground just to maybe, I didn't look in a certain pocket in my bag, or I didn't look at something.
Well, what I remember happening is that we told Dan. Dan's just like, okay, Dan in a stressful situation is probably the best person to be with, I think, because he kind of stays pretty calm. Now, Dan goes up to Ben Gordon from Parkway, and I remember him going up and saying, hey, mate, we forgot our iLock, or we've lost it. By any chance, do you guys have one? And Ben goes, yeah, I should be able to find one. When you guys go on stage? And Dan's just like, 10 minutes. And then Ben's just like, oh, shit. Anyway, so Ben Gordon's running around for us trying to find one. But he tells me as well, go to our production office, and maybe our stage tech might have one. So I go to Parkway's production office, I run in a panic as well, being like, hey guys, I heard there's an iLock in here. Do you guys have one by any chance? And then these guys are thinking like, who's this dickhead that's just walked in? Anyway, I got this bloke looking for an iLock for me, as well as Ben Gordon running around. He's trying to find one. Anyway, I think Ben ends up asking the guitarist of Architects. So he the architects are now running around for us trying to find one. Meanwhile, we're all still thinking of plan B because, yeah, okay, people are running around, but we go on stage in 10 minutes. Now it's 5 minutes until we go on stage. Okay,
and we didn't,
time's ticking.
We didn't know if getting someone else's eye lock would work either. Like,
no.
We hoped it would, but we weren't sure.
Well, like I said, it's like a key to a car. It's like, does anyone have a key to a car? Like,
yeah.
And hope it works. Like,
yeah.
Anyway, so we find out architects had one spare, and it was their guitar tech who gave us one. So we're up on stage. He's trying to fix it for us to try log it in on Dan's laptop for able to start the whole thing. But I remember you being at the computer trying to log in with all the details. And like, I don't even want to talk to you at this stage because I'm just like, I'm scared if I talk to you, you're just going to say, piss off.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just like, oh shit, I can't be in this zone right now. I need to actually start thinking about playing because at this stage, there's probably about 2 minutes before we go on stage in front of all these people.
Yeah.
So we eventually you log in, it's all working, a little bit of calmness happens. We're all good to go. Guess what? There's a minute to go on stage. Tim, our guitar tech, he hands me the guitar. He's like, yep, you're good to go. I'm like, all right, sweet. Then all of a sudden, I hear out of nowhere the intro playing with the video out on stage. I'm like, oh, shit. So basically, by handing my guitar with a minute ago, you logging in on this laptop, we're about to go on stage.
Yeah.
And then we go out and play a great show.
it was a movie finish. Like, you know how in a movie, something like that will happen, the drama, and you solve it just in the nick of time. Usually that shit does not happen, though. Like, usually you go out, you bomb, everyone's like, boo, get off.
It was about having, but honestly, it was like such a great show. Like, it went really well. Like, the crowd was awesome. But then when we came off stage, like, I don't think you realized that you just played a show because you're still in this like panic attack mode.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I've switched off because usually after the first song, I'm in the zone, I'm having fun. And then anyway, we go off stage and then I think you realize it might possibly be somewhere. We go home, you pick up your pants that you wore the night before, and
Still
it's in
there.
the pocket of the...
Safe and sound.
Oh my God.
Safe and sound. Oh my God. Like, but just a little bit on the end of that as well. So we're the dickheads running around losing eye locks, you know, we're the real professional band
yeah, that's
here.
right. Oh my God.
And then we borrowed that eye lock off. Man, he was wonderful. That guitar tech for architects was a saint. But we go to give it back to him, and there's no lid on the eye lock, so they have a lid just to protect it. It's a USB key, essentially.
Yeah.
And I couldn't find it, and I didn't know where it was. So now I'm handing back the eye lock that we borrowed without the lid because we had lost our eye lock, and now we're losing his shit as well.
Other people's lids.
We managed to find the lid, but we were absolute assholes for that whole... Well, I was. I'll take full blame. But Liam never lets me live that down. And I still, every time I hear that story, I get
still panic.
The worst anxiety because somehow I feel like it's not real. And actually, I've blanked it out of my mind, all the bad shit that happened.
I'll bring it up. No, but I honestly want to know, there's a parallel universe somewhere where we didn't find it, and I still want to know what happened.
Mate, that's what I'm scared of. Those poor guys in that alternative universe are living through the shit of the worst show that's ever happened.
Well, that's the thing. I think we're in the good one.
Well, yeah.
But anyway.
But maybe imagine this. Coronavirus wouldn't have happened if we had played the alternative universe show. That's the difference.
Don't say that.
I don't know.
I'll tell you what, in that parallel universe, they've got it worse, trust me.
Ugh, I don't know. Can't get much worse right now.
Yes.
For some people.
Yeah.
So.
Anyway, all right, mate. Well, guess what? I just got a phone call, or a message from the Ford dealership that my car is ready because I had to get my aircon fixed.
Yep.
So I think I've got to go pick it up because in saying that, coincidentally with aircon, I've got an electrician coming around this afternoon. He's putting in an air vent in our toilet. That was Tennille's plan. She said we'd need to have one in there. It's in my toilet. So
I wonder why. Yeah. You stayed at my place before. We needed to put an air vent in now.
Yeah. Anyway, isn't this conversation turned to shit now? Okay. All right.
Oh, zing.
But, mate, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, nah, thanks for having me, Liam.
I can't
Appreciate
wait
it,
to get this Formula One DFR racing shirt out, the Shred Life DFR collab, and it's going to be a banger.
Go to downforceracing.co and I'll have the details when we get the shirt up.
Sensational. Okay, mate.
Thanks,
It's been a great chat, and I'll tell you what.
Nice.
How many more weeks have you got in lockdown?
I don't know anymore. I'm planning for the rest of my life to be in lockdown, so...
I think that's a good way of doing it. And then if anything's less, it's a win, isn't it?
It is. That's it.
Yeah. That's it.
Right.
Expect the worst, hope for the best.
Gotta go
No
now.
worries, mate. I'll chat to you soon.
Bye.
And have a good one.
See you.
See you, brother.